Hold on. Crap, man. I don't know what happened. Okay, it's still recording. I don't know. I don't know what that was about. But anyways, so the difference between ¿Cómo? Se va mucho la conexión. Oh, I don't know why and estoy en el cuarto donde está ¿cómo se llama? The router or whatever. So I don't know what the hell. But anyways, so hopefully it catches everything on the, ¿cómo se llama? On the video. So let me just do the intro ones, and then we can continue maybe Sunday. I hope to be able to do at least one thing Sunday, at least an hour. So remember to go back and take notes, okay? Wandering atrial pacemaker, you're not gonna say wandering atrial pacemaker, you're gonna say WAP. You can say wandering atrial pacemaker if you remember that. You might remember it if you do this over and over and over year after year, and for many years, then you'll get used to it. Wandering atrial pacemaker or multifocal atrial tachycardia. Though, like I said, the only difference is the heart rate. One is over 100 beats per minute, and one is less than 100 beats per minute. The rule is it has to be irregular. That means this will not be regular. You see it's not, when I say regular, remember I mean like a pattern marching out. This is not. You see that it's like what is everywhere. But it is you still have a P wave. The problem is you're going to have three different looking P waves. This one, look at this one. This one's all like little mountain, or this one's down. You have at least three different ones. The QRS, which is the main man, the main thing we're looking at, the QRS, it's still got to be less than 3 little squares, less than 0.12. Okay, that's how you're gonna know if it's a wandering atrial pacemaker or multifocal atrial tachycardia. Is it this one or is it this one? Both is just like I said. This one's less than 100 beats per minute, and let's see how much there is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 50 beats per minute, and this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is what? 90 heart rate. And it is very hard to see if it's because you see the P waves, and then you see, what the hell is that, another QRS? Is not. It's not another QRS. It's just the piquitos that are way in the top. That's what we're looking at. Those are the QRS, the little piquitos that go all the way to the top. Okay, so that's the difference between wandering, which is WAP, and then MAT. You just put abbreviation WAP, and that's MAT. Okay, now this is where it gets a little tricky. A PAC means a beat that is gonna go too soon before the next, so it throws off the rhythm. You have to pay attention because you have to see the patterns. This is too small to see if there's a pattern because you don't see what else is going on, right? So you'd have to see the rest of the rhythm a little bit more, but always make sure, is there a pattern? This one is saying that there should be a pattern, but it is interrupted by a PAC. PAC means premature. I don't think it's in there, is it? Premature atrial. What the hell is this called? Premature atrial complex. I forgot what I gotta go back and look at the book. But the thing is, a PAC is supposed to be like a normal rhythm, a normal beat interruption. It's not a because you're gonna have other interruptions that are like real big. The QRS is real big, or you're gonna have one without the little P wave in the front. But if you see a little P wave in the front, and it's in the QRS looks exactly like the other one, it's just a PAC. It's just a PAC. So it's regular. This is regular, but it's interrupted by this. But if you were to have this one a little bit longer, it's just telling you that it's normally pacing, but it's interrupted by PAC. Okay, that's one of the rhythms that it says it can occur at any time. regular but interrupted. That means it's usually regular, but it's going to be interrupted. So it's just a PAC, okay? PAT, PAT, so not, this is PAC because it's just one. PAT is when you have more of these together, and the heart rate is 161 to 250. 161 to 250. So that means, so what does that mean? What does that mean? When you will measure the PAC, this is a PAT, I'm sorry, the PAT, when you measure them, see, this is supposed to be regular, but this little thing right here, it interrupted it. So it should be regular. Everything should be regular, but all of a sudden this little thing came. This is a PAT. They're all marching really nice, really cute, but that's different. That's like a little, it's like an interruption in your life. You're running a normal heart rate. This is not normal. Nobody runs 160 to 250 beats per minute. Nobody does that. I mean, if there are something's gonna happen right now. So the normal is running normal. But then this is true. This is true because it's not messy. It's not like messy stuff. It's really cute next to each other. It's this is a real PAT, paroxysmal atrial tachycardia. PAT. That's what you call them. And in the hospital, you might hear PAT, you might hear PSVT. I think the only difference a lot of times that they do is a PAT is if this little run, if you measure it, if you measure these 101, because some nurses might say, well, how far did the heart rate go up in the little moment, and that's when you have to go and you're gonna have to go and measure these two. If it's less than 150, I think that's what they say. If it's less than 150, it's PAT. If it's more than 150, they're gonna call it a PSVT. Just depending on what your book says. If you plan to learn this and go to school, whatever book they give you, let's go with what your book says, because like I said, it might be updated. But for now, I learned that it's PAT. If these little things are, if you measure them, and another way, like I said, to measure them is right here, the little four. It's well, this one's I'll tell you later. Just pay attention to the rhythms. The rhythms is regular but interrupted by a PAT. That's so there's a PAC. It's only one. You might have one interruption every damn beat. That'll be what they call bigeminy PA. You'll be like, well, this fucking guy is running normal sinus, but they might have one in every beat. So you'd say sinus, rhythm, whatever, with bigeminy PACs. If they have them, bigeminy is by every other by, so it's every other beat bigeminy. If they were to be running every, what I'm saying, like one of these PACs or whatever. Or if every now and then you see them in the rhythm, you say sinus rhythm, and they're showing with frequent PACs, you would say. You want, you don't have to count each one. It's just telling you, like, más o menos, what are you seeing that the heart rate is doing? What are you seeing that the patient is doing? What is happening in their heart rate? So you tell them that's what it is, okay? Atrial flutter. Atrial flutter looks different all the time. Atrial flutter, you see this right here? This is you don't see a P wave. There's no P wave. They still call it atrial, which is they still consider it to be okay kind of rhythm, only because they still have a QRS, and it's supposed to still be between 3 little boxes and less. You still see a kind of thin QRS. This one right here looks kind of funny. If I saw that at the at the hospital, I'd probably say atrial flutter with a heart rate of, what's the heart rate again? Remember?
30?
Huh?
30?
Yes. Yes, 30 because it's 1, 2, 3 within a 6 second. So 30, I'd be like fucking scared. Like, what? I don't know what this guy's doing, but y'all gotta check on this guy because supposedly atrial flutter is good, but when you put the heart rate together, maybe it's like I said, maybe they're not making a big thing because they just kind of want you to see what it kind of looks like. So, but in this situation, if I saw this shit at the hospital, I'd be like, oh, flutter is still okay, but the heart rate at 30, that don't look so good, because you still got to make sure that the patient's pumping blood, and 30 is not a good sign. But for the purpose of you learning, QRS is still should be less than 12.12 seconds. Flutter, you can have maybe one. You could have one on each one. That would be a ratio of 1 to 1 flutter waves. You can say that. You could just say, they're running atrial flutter, heart rate 30, boom, bye. And a lot of times they're like, okay, thank you. Click, they hang up. Sometimes they're like, very, very few times where they're going to ask you, well, ratio or whatever of flutter waves, because they want to know, is it 2 for every QRS? Or is it 1 for QRS? Is it 3? They want to know. Not really. Nobody really wants to know that. Just they want to, but as long as you know there's no P wave, but just be very careful because there's people in the hospital that, like I said, you will always. I still ask questions. People that have been there 20 years. There's OGs in there that still be like, hey, what do y'all think? What do y'all think this one? The other day, somebody asked me. She said, hey, what do you think this one is? She says, it kind of looks like a P wave because this is what they're running. I'm going to show you what they're running. They're running something like, it was a QRS. I'm not going to make a pretty QRS. I'm just saying that it was like this little beat that went up and then it was this little beat, but it was like a downbeat and it went up. It was like a downbeat and it went up. I don't know, but it looked funny. So once it starts looking funny, but you can kind of see like a little pattern going on, like then you kind of know it's like, okay, it might be flutter because it's too far, and then you got another little bump over here. So I told her I think it's flutter, and she said, you think it's flutter? She has way more experience than I do. And we got this other guy to look at it, and he's like, yeah, I think it's flutter too. So you'll see later on. You'll get used to it. If it starts kind of looking funny, it's not really looking like a P wave, then it might be flutter, because it's not always gonna look really how they say saw, like a saw, like the saw, whatever, to cut wood. It's not always gonna look like that. Okay, that's another one. So so you got the Wondering Nature pacemaker, which is what multifocal atrial tachycardia, which is MAT. You got PACs, you got PATs, you got atrial flutter. Now you have AFib, atrial fibrillation. So this one, you still have the QRS. Oh, by the way, will it be regular or not regular for flutter? Let me see what it's saying right here, because sometimes I still forget. It says regular or irregular. Regular or, so it might look regular or it can be irregular. So just know that for that one. For atrial fib, it's saying anywhere from 300 to 700. So it's talking about what's 300 to 7, whatever. It's talking about these little things. It's like a little whatever. They're talking about that's how much is going, whatever. But you really don't need to you're not gonna be if it's atrial fib, you're not gonna be measuring the little waves, nothing, because you don't see nothing. You really can't. What you gonna measure? You can't measure nothing. But also, this one does not have a P wave. Atrial fibrillation, AFib, does not have a P wave. So if you see a QRS and it's thin and it's irregular, because AFib is irregular is just irregular, okay? So if you see a QRS and it's thin, but you don't see a P wave, as long as it's thin, you still got an atrial rhythm. So this is atrial fibrillation. Atrial AFib. They call it AFib for short. What is this one running? Heart rate.
40.
40. 1, 2, 3, 4. But you notice a little, they kind of take long or whatever like that, but it's still running. 40 heart rate. I don't know. It just, there's fibrillatory waves. There's no P waves. They call it, it's a wave, the wave of the baseline is fibrillatory waves, not what they call flutter waves, but fibrillatory waves. They're never gonna ask you that. It's just for you to know that that's what they call it, but really it's just AFib. Overall, I say, well, the kind of ring ring. Yeah, what's my patient running? Yeah, the patient is running AFib because you don't know what the hell's going on right here. You don't see nothing. You just know that it's a real nice thin QRS, but you don't see nothing else going on. So, yeah, they're running AFib at 40 heart rate. Okay, thank you. Click. That's it. Okay. The last rhythm for atrial rhythms. The last rhythm for atrial is SVT. SVT means you don't see a P wave, but it's gonna be running really fast. That's the whole rhythm. It's not an interruption, because if it's an interruption, these little interruptions are within. It's like inside what the regular rhythm is, but this is not an interruption. This is what they're running. This is what's going on. SVT means greater or equal to 130 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And you add a 0, 150. So this patient is running SVT. So it means supraventricular tachycardia. So you learn these names too later on. That one means SVT is 130 or greater. It is running regular. Okay, so you should still that it's still running regular. It can just be careful, because it might look like another one that's a lethal rhythm. That is a lethal rhythm means a dangerous rhythm. It might look like it, but as long as it's the QRS, as long as it's and I think you gotta stop it from where inside. Where's my pin at? Okay, inside. Oh, sorry, I'm not getting it on the video over here. As long as inside this little box right here too, I don't think you add this T wave or whatever else is going on. You wouldn't add that. Okay, so I don't know. I need to check back into the video to see if y'all got the AFib, because I noticed that this one was too low. But anyways, as long as the QRS, each QRS is a 0.12 and less, it's still good. It'd be SVT. This one, you might be. It looks kind of freaky, because it does look like a lethal rhythm, and I'll show y'all in the next telemetry course. But for now, you were able to get sinus rhythm and the rules, sinus Brady, sinus tach, sinus arrhythmia, sinus arrest, sinus block. You were able to get 6 rhythms, and you were able to get another or did I say 6 or 8? What the hell did I say? Yeah, 6 rhythms and another 8 little things. So like I said, we're starting, but we're starting to do this telemetry thing, like learning and everything. But I feel like I've given you a lot of information, because I'm telling you right now, when y'all go to the school, you're gonna have, whenever y'all go to the school, you're gonna have a big ass idea of what the hell they're gonna be talking about. Because in the beginning, I was so freaking confused, and this is just the first lesson. I want to be able to go over a few times before, you know what I'm saying, before y'all go to school, so y'all can have an idea. Like I said, it's starting good, but then later on you're gonna see shit like this. Wait a minute. As long as you know what you're looking for, now you're gonna be learning as you go. A lot of times you're gonna be learning as you go. Then later on we're gonna touch on junctional. Junctional does not have no P waves, it's still regular. And then later on we're gonna touch on ventricular. So these are the deadly ones. These are the ones, and you could tell why. Why can you tell? Because the QRS starts to get fucking huge, and you can't see no P waves. There's no P waves. They just start to get real huge, and they start to get real messy. And if all the leads look like this, that means it's true. If it's but also you I'm gonna explain to you. And then of course this, that means their heart's not pumping no more. That's it. They're not here. But you get, they're dead. Yeah, they're dead. Okay, and I think it's because Rosa wasn't looking and pay attention because she fell asleep in the computer. Anyways, another one, the last one that you will be working on is the heart blocks. That one's also they have medicines for stuff like this. If they have heart blocks, stuff that they yeah, but that's another one that y'all have to look at. Okay, and then later on we'll do the what you call it, the some like exercises or whatever. But this is what it is. I want y'all to know what you're supposed to be looking for and what's happening if there's a difference. What are the options? What so there's no P wave. So what does that mean? If there's no QRS, what does that mean? So but for now we've already covered sinus and the atrial, which is still kind of part of the sinus. So we still need junctional, ventricular, and AV blocks. These we need. And once we do that, then we can go back, because I just kind of went over basic. But we're going to go back and look at the a little bit more into detail and do some exercises. But for now, I do, I guess, suggest that y'all take notes. And if y'all need to, and this, I'm going to post this up on the YouTube so y'all be able to go back and if y'all have questions or whatever, go back in there, But I don't want to make them too long because who wants to go through this hour again? I don't. Anyways, write your notes, and maybe Sunday evening. Maybe Sunday evening I can have some downtime and I can go over the junctional and ventricular. Okay? Alrighty. Well, thank y'all for joining me for this time. Thank you, Mama. You're welcome. And then later on, I will be asking questions. I'll be quizzing y'all. So make sure y'all do. ¿Cómo se llama? Make sure y'all do. Y'all fucking study. Homework. Okay. Yeah, homework. All right then, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Thank you. Bye. You're welcome. I love you. Bye. Love you. Bye bye.